In this video, I'll tell you about 3 ways to trick your brain to help you get your wargaming models painted. Let's say that you enjoy or maybe even love to build your models for your armies and other wargaming projects, but actually painting those models, that can be a struggle for you, right? So part of the problem is that, at least in wargaming, the models are usable once they're built, right? Like, they don't need to be painted to push them around on the tabletop and to play games with them, unless you go to some sort of event, like a tournament or whatever, that requires painted models, that is, I suppose. But you know that they're not really done until they're painted. But you find painting difficult to get going for like a host of different reasons. So I want to try to help you to find ways to get your wargaming models painted. I've been going through this myself recently. I just painted an entire Robot Legion's 1,000 point army for Grimdark Future from one-page rules. And now I'm doing another 1,000 point army for, Grimdark Future with the Saurian Star Host. There are things that you can do to make painting an army, or maybe a small warband, or even a single model easier. And these are not techniques. I'm not going to teach you techniques or dry brushing or anything like that. This is all up here, and it starts with you, with training your brain. In most situations, the thing that stops you from painting is you. So let's fix you. The first thing to get over is the fear of screwing up. That's the great thing about, painting wargaming miniatures. It's nearly impossible to screw it up. If you end up unhappy with the colors that you picked, or the placement of those colors, or just your particular skill level when you painted the models, like your edge highlighting is all gloppy and your blends are no good, or whatever the deal is, you can always do it again later if you want. It's better to paint the model now than to wait to get better later. I mean, how will you actually get better if you don't paint, right? If you look at your older models in the future and don't like the look, then you can take another crack at them if you want to. You can't ever really paint yourself into a corner with your miniatures, right? And make it so that you're like, well, there's nothing here I can do anymore, right? Like, your minis are never ruined. You have basically 4 choices in the future after you've painted your models that you do today. Now, number 1 of those choices is good enough, right? You painted it, you're better now than you were then, and you learned from it. And you'd rather spend your time and your effort on painting some other models in your collection rather than reworking on these. Now, this is obviously the easiest choice because you don't actually really have to do anything. You just use those models as a reminder of how far you've come, and then you just go on. But let's say that these models really bug you for some reason, you just can't get over it. Or maybe they were fine as they were, before, and then they pretty much mostly sat in a case and you weren't, using them that much, kind of out of sight, out of mind. But then you found a new use for those models, like a new edition of the game, or maybe even a totally new game to use those models in, and now they're bugging you again, right? So here's your solution 2 for the future. Touch them up. Right? You don't have to repaint them, then you can just go back and, with more experience under your belt, and touch up your old paint job. You can clean up some mistakes where you went over the lines or this or that, too heavy with the wash, whatever. You can do all those things. You can add more highlights, you can add more shadows, whatever you want. I made a video about how to do this probably about 6 or 7 months ago. Pachow. Your third choice is to just prime over the model and start again, right? If you feel that the paint job just can't be saved with touch-ups or anything like that, and it's just, maybe you just totally want to try a different color scheme than the one you originally started with, right? Then just prime over it and start again. It usually works just fine, actually. However, if you really slopped on the paint back in the day when you first painted these things, however long ago that was, Then you're left with choice number 4, which is to strip the models and start again from scratch. If you originally, when you built the models, used super glue, CA glue as they call it, instead of plastic cement, then you'll probably have to glue some of the parts back together after you take them out of, whatever you use to strip the models, because it'll probably eat the glue as well. But honestly, sometimes that can be a good thing. With those 4 choices in mind for the future of the models that you're painting today, you should never, ever worry about painting your models and ruining them. It's not possible. Whether it's you decide to leave it be, or you decide to touch it up, or to prime it again, or even to strip the paint, you can always know that painting your miniatures doesn't have to be the end of the line. You can always do it again if you want. And if you don't want to do that, at least you can take solace in the fact that you were, painting and learning how to paint better while you were doing it. The next thing to fix in your head is your time management. Now, some folks just don't have the time to paint or hobby at all. It's true. Like, kids, multiple jobs, family duties. I get it, right? Well, not the kids part. I don't have kids. But the other stuff I get. Life can certainly get in the way. But have you ever been in a situation where you did have the time for you, some free time, some degree of free time in your day, but you still didn't get the minis painted that you told yourself you were going to paint? This happens a lot to folks, and it might have happened to you. Usually what happens is that you spend that time doing something else that you enjoy, like playing video games, or watching TV or movies, or reading, or whatever. And that whole time, the unpainted miniatures are sitting there mocking you. It doesn't need to be that way. You can find ways to either combine some of those things with painting, or plan and then alternate your time between a few different things so you can still make forward progress on the unpainted or potentially even unbuilt models in your collection. There are 2 main things that I do. The first one is to combine my time. It makes me feel like I'm multitasking, almost like cheating, right? Like, I love to listen to podcasts while I'm painting. I'm not sure why, but it kind of centers me and keeps me on task. I also like to listen to audiobooks while I'm painting. Again, it feels like I'm getting 2 things done at once, right? Just as a quick note, I use Audible to get my audiobooks, and if you're interested in a 30-day free trial and getting to keep the book that you get during that trial, even if you do cancel, you can go to audibletrial.com/tabletopminions. Link is in the description below. Anyway, the benefit to listening to podcasts and audiobooks while I paint is that I associate those things with painting. Therefore, if I want to listen to the next podcast episode or listen to the next chapter in the story, then I need to go and paint more to listen more, right? I don't have a long commute, so I really only listen to stuff while I'm painting. However, if you listen to podcasts on your commute, for an example, then try listening to audiobooks while you're painting, or vice versa. But attach one of those things, or both of them, to your painting so that you feel that you can't do one without the other. Personally, I can't watch videos of any kind, YouTube videos, TV shows, movies, whatever, while I'm painting, right? I end up just focusing on the visuals. I'm painting, and then there's and then I eventually just stop, and then my brush dries out, right? Some folks can watch. Well, I assume that they're mostly listening, right? But some folks can watch like video stuff while painting. You need to find out whether you can or whether it distracts you like it does me. Also, I certainly can't play video games while I'm painting, and I'm pretty sure that most folks probably can't. But there is a solution for that as well, and it comes from the world of general productivity hacks. According to Google, the pomodoro technique is a time management system that uses a timer to break work into focused 25-minute intervals known as pomodoros, separated by short breaks. After 4 pomodoros, a longer break of 15 to 30 minutes is taken. The technique, developed by Francesco Carrillo in the late 1980s, helps improve focus, combat procrastination, and prevent burnout by providing a structured way to work with limited attention spans. I've used this in the past myself, actually, for like regular day job work and things like that. And I even have like a fancy timer for it, but you don't honestly need one of those. If you want to paint and get some video games played and you know that you have some free time to do both, then start a countdown timer. Like, you don't have to do like specific 25-minute intervals like Mr. Pomodoro or whatever suggests, but you do need to set time constraints. If you want to start with playing video games, then set a timer and stick to it. Lord knows I've been playing a video game, and gotten like really into it and then like looked up and noticed that it was dark outside, right? So time flies when you're playing video games. So set a timer, play for a while, whatever you've decided on, and then save your game and then start painting. Set a timer when you start painting as well, and then paint until the timer goes off, like clean out your brush or whatever, and then go back and unpause your video game. How long these timers are like set up for and how many times you alternate completely depends on you and the time you have available to you to use in the situation. However, it's important to let that outside force, like a timer, even though it's a timer that you've set, right? You have to let that timer remind you what you were trying to do with your free time, especially if you have like specific plans for that free time. Spending your available free time doing two things, whether simultaneously or in sequence, can really help. The last way to fix your head and get stuff painted? Gamify your painting. It's kinda like how it sounds. You turn your painting process into a game of sorts, mainly via rewards or prizes, kind of, right? Like, some folks won't allow themselves to buy the new unit or mini that they want until the current model or unit or perhaps even entire army are finished. Now, you can go that big if you want, right? But you can also do it differently. Tell yourself that you can like paint the fun HQ unit that you've had on your desk for a while after you finish this unit of troops. That's usually the way I do it. Giving yourself an enjoyable goal after the completion of a task that you're less interested in might sound a bit silly, right? But as a mental trick, it can actually really work. And the prize can be something outside of painting altogether, right? Like, maybe you tell yourself that you can go play that video game if you just get the bases on this unit of troops done. I've recently made a deal with myself when working on an army that if I got all the OSL done on this one unit, then I'd go and get a soda. It can just be simple, goofy little things like that. But if it works for you, then it's not that goofy. Sometimes you're just like in the zone and cannot wait to get back to your desk and paint, right? Like, that's a great place to be, but not everyone is like that all the time. Sometimes you have to trick your brain into getting your painting done. Don't fear screwing up, right? Manage your time and reward yourself when you make progress. These tricks can help you get models painted, and more painted models are always the goal. Have you tried any of these tricks for your brain? Do they work for you? Or do you have better tricks that you use to get things painted and out on the tabletop? Let us all know down in the comments below. If you like videos like this, trick your brain into doing some depressmentation of the like button. It always does help the channel and the videos get out to more people, and I appreciate it. It makes me happy. If you'd like to be happy, getting notifications every single week about these videos, then while you're down there as well, hit the subscribe button. It's free. Thanks for watching.